on Browns, Texans,
All right, we
and
live now.
we're live. Hey, everybody. This is a special wild card edition, Martin Luther King Day edition of the TD Report. I'm your host, David Combs. I'm here with Tony Kennedy. TK, how you feeling, buddy? Your Cowboys took one on the chin, pal. What do you say?
Feel pretty good, actually. Because you know who I picked to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC. Who did I pick?
That's right. You picked the Lions, and you picked them preseason, and we have that on tape. We have that on tape.
So, although I like the boys, and I was cheering against what I picked, it is what it is. I think that butt kicking did Dallas a favor yesterday, to see that they have a flawed system and flawed management. And if
Talk about the X's and O's. Talk about the X's and O's behind that flawed system.
Well, when I say a flawed system, it's flawed as in their management. Jerry Jones needs to really turn it over to Will McClay and people who understand football. Coming down to Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn, those guys, for one, it was smoke and mirrors. No running game, and you just think Dak is going to throw all the time. Doesn't work in the playoffs. Secondly, Dallas interior defense has been terrible all year. So you need to, it's smoke and mirrors. You need to put your best athlete, as in Parsons, you need to put him at the mic so that, because obviously you can see he's way undersized and he's doing well where he is. But if you put him at the mic, now you have a person who can get rid of the first blocker, a person who's athletic, who can read stuff, who can get and help in the run game. Having Parsons at the edge, all they do is just run away from him, or they double him and run at him. That doesn't, he's only effective when you're trying to throw and obvious passing down. That's a flawed system. That means that teams can go against that all the time.
You have to credit the Green Bay Packers. You have to credit the offensive staff there. They're starting Jordan Love. He's a third-year quarterback. First year starting as a full-time starter. Starting his first playoff game on the road, he goes 16 for 21 for 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, no sacks. That's the key. He was comfortable back there. All right, that's the one thing. Now, he had 3 touchdowns, but then what really killed him was Aaron Jones, 21 totes, 118 yards, and 3 scores. That's 6 touchdowns between 2 players. Dallas's defense could not force a field goal. Everything was touchdowns. It was just all Green Bay. I know the score is 48-32, but Dak's 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions came at a cost. Those 2 interceptions led to 13 Green Bay points. So, Dallas is going to have to go back to the drawing board. We don't know what's going to happen with Mike McCarthy, if he's going to get fired, if they're going to bring him back. What's going to happen? Is there going to be a reorg at the top? We don't know. But what we do know is this. Green Bay is going to be playing against the San Francisco 49ers. They're up next. That's another old school playoff matchup. We remember lots of matchups between Green Bay and the San Francisco 49ers back from when Favre was the quarterback, back from when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, Steve Young, Jeff Garcia, Terrell Owens when he was
Green
there.
Bay had a great
matchup.
Dave.
That's a great matchup as far as playoffs historically, because there's a lot of games in there between them, similar to with Dallas, but we'll go on from there. Let's talk about the other NFC game, the game that you are really excited about. The Detroit Lions win their first playoff game in, I think it's 32 years. 24-23 over the Rams. Look, this was a tight game. This was not an easy W. The Rams really fought in a year that people didn't think the Rams had anything. Right? The Rams only were able to muster 58 yards in net rushing. That's it. Very good defensive effort by the Detroit Lions. And the Detroit Lions put 7 QB hits on Matt Stafford. They were after him all day, Tony. Great job by the front 7 in Detroit.
All day. What I saw in that game, Detroit, man, Detroit has been that team all year. Restore the roar. I just kind of, felt like it was their time. I also kind of felt like it was Cleveland's time too. If Deshaun Watson doesn't get hurt, and I mean, I know you say if, but dude, it just seemed like all these years of building up, these teams finally got good. And Detroit
game,
is one of those
Cleveland lost 45 to Cleveland lost 45 to 14 to to the Texans. The Texans started C.J. Stroud, rookie, should be the rookie of the year. He wins his first playoff start. He goes 16 of 21 for 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks. Okay. The offensive line did their job. Stroud did his job, made some great throws in there. I mean, let's look at what happened. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different receivers receiving passes. He threw a long touchdown pass, 76 yards on a bomb. Beautiful throw. And one thing I do say about the Texans, their offensive staff has done a great job getting C.J. Stroud out of the pocket, away from the rush, giving him some clean throws, not easy throws, but makeable throws, right? And if that's the throws that your quarterback can make, and he makes a high percentage of them, well, damn it, give him more of those.
Yeah. What I saw in Stroud is that team, that team is dangerous, and
it could be a problem.
They could be a serious problem, and luckily that Tank dude, the receiver, one of their receivers went down. If that dude don't go down, Lord have mercy. I mean, they might have got the 3rd seed. They might have gotten the third seed, and they wouldn't be on the.
Stroud missed a couple of games too.
Yeah, hell, they might have got the 2nd seed because Buffalo barely got the 2nd seed.
They should have been the second. They should have been a 2nd or 3rd seed.
And team. So what I'm saying is that man, they're dangerous. I would want to play them. I mean, that is by far the coach for Cleveland or the coach for Texans. It's not even close.
Oh, you're talking about Stefanski and DeMeco Ryans, the coaches that oppose each other.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about the game that everybody's talking about. You got to talk about the Chiefs and the Dolphins. The Chiefs basically smother the Dolphins in sub-zero temperatures out in Kansas City, 26-7. To be honest, it wasn't even really that close.
No.
Kansas City went up 16-7 at half, and Miami just really couldn't do anything. Tua Tagovailoa just didn't have it. 20 completions, 39 attempts for 199 yards. Patrick Mahomes went for 262 with a touchdown, no sacks. That's the other thing we need to talk about. The Kansas City defense played well, and Kansas City's offensive line kept Mahomes pretty much healthy and off of his back. If they're able to do that the rest of the way, I like their chances of getting to the AFC Championship game. Truly do.
Kansas City depends if they play home or away. If they play home, I like their chance to get. We don't know about them playing away yet because we've never seen it. We've never seen them play on the road in the regular playoffs. We've never seen it.
I will say this about Kansas City. Let's give them some credit. First round pick from a couple of years ago that we highlighted on our draft show, George Karlaftis, 6 tackles, 3 solos, at 1.5 sacks and a tackle for loss. He played a hell of a game. That dude's a beast. I think is he out of Purdue, right?
Out of Purdue, yep.
Yeah, he's nice. That was a great pick that they made, that the Chiefs made. And when we see these teams that tend to draft pretty low in the draft because they're winning Super Bowls and coming in 2nd or 3rd in the league, to get a guy like George Karlaftis and you just add him into that defense, that's why they're able to let go of some of their higher dollar defensive guys, because they've got a younger guy will play. NFL rookie contracts, Tony, will play for food compared to what a veteran makes. Looks like Pittsburgh is about to go down here, right?
Yeah, Pittsburgh's down 24-17. I'm a little bit behind you because I'm on
Okay.
the Fire Stick.
You're on the Fire
Look.
Stick. I'm just looking at them moving down the field. It looks like Buffalo is moving down the field a little bit on
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
So
Buffalo.
they're missing
Yeah.
TJ Watt. They're missing TJ Watt pretty bad.
They're missing them big time. But Pittsburgh need a quarterback.
Badly.
This guy's a backup. And Pittsburgh's doing a hell of a job. To me,
Mason
with a backup
Rudolph,
quarterback.
he can do. He's literally doing everything he can possibly do.
Yes.
You know, when I look back at the season and I see teams that have struggled at quarterback, and I see a team like that's it. That's game.
That's ball game.
That's ball game. When I look at teams that work their butt off everywhere else on the field and they just can't get enough quarterback play, I look at a team like the Chicago Bears, and I'm not against Justin Fields. I think he's a good young quarterback. I just don't think he's got enough, not necessarily enough around him, but he doesn't have the right coaching and the right scheme for him. I think he's a lot better than what he showed. But you look at what Chicago did this year. They beat the Bears, they beat the Lions, and should have beat them twice. Should have beat them the first time they played them. Beat them the second time. There were a couple of games that they basically choked away in the fourth quarter. Now, you know what I say about a team that chokes in the fourth quarter. Either your defense isn't good enough or you don't run the ball well enough when you've got that lead and you trying to salt away a victory. And the way that you win games in the NFL is not the same way you win them now compared to what you did in the 90s or when we were watching it in the 80s, where if you got a lead, hey, man, you're going to see Emmitt Smith. You got a lead, yeah, you're going to see George Rogers. You're going to see, John Riggins for the fourth quarter. That's what you're going to get. But you don't win games like that way in the NFL anyway. The calculus is entirely different. Teams throw the ball to win now.
Yeah, it's a much different way of winning. And I think that has messed up the game for some of these people. It's definitely messed up Dallas because Dallas needs to get back to their DNA of having – remember, Dallas has never won a Super Bowl without a dynamic guy at the running back position. You know,
Correct.
They had Dwayne Thomas, they had Tony Dorsett, then they had three with Emmitt Smith. So, you know, they don't win without that dynamic guy at that position.
Right.
And it's you need that guy at that position. I mean, I shouldn't have to go over there. I'm being a little biased because I play running back, but it's almost to now. Well, the pass is setting up the run, and that's what I'm seeing, and that's fine. Whatever setup, whatever. But you're gonna have to have a balance, and you're gonna have to have that running game going.
And Dallas also, and a lot of teams have this problem. Not just Dallas. They aren't really strong up the A gap. Okay, they don't have a big dude in there like an Eddie Goldman or Dan Wilkinson or Tony Casillas that can really control that A gap and make it so that you have no choice but to run it off tackle. You see what I mean? You can run up the A gap on Dallas. We saw that in the Buffalo game. So the game coming up after this one, after Pittsburgh and Buffalo, we're going to see the NFC wild card. We're going to see that down in Tampa. We've got the Eagles going down to Tampa to play. I don't know what to think about the Eagles right now. There's something not right in that locker room. There's no A.J. Brown. He's injured. But, you know, he erased everybody from Philadelphia off his social media. Tony, do we know what's even going on in that locker room?
I have no clue, and I'm not going to begin to guess what I think. Philly, listen, it comes down to them losing their coordinators. Philly was by far, well, I ain't going to say by far. Philly was the best team last year in the NFL. They outplayed Kansas City in the Super Bowl. They just made two bonehead plays. Hurts' fumble, and then the holding on the interference on the thing.
That was questionable. That was questionable.
Yeah. No, it wasn't questionable because the guy came out and said he helped him.
He hooked him. Okay.
Yeah, if the player said, I held you, no. See, the problem was everybody was cheering on. I understand. We get on how we want to cheer. Oh, is it hold? If it's not, if it's blah, 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 based upon how you feel about the game. That was a hold. The player said, I held them. I was hoping they wouldn't call it. So when the player says it, believe him. He not, especially after the Super Bowl. But Philly should have been Super Bowl champs. Now, you got to think about it. You come into this year, you lose your offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Now it comes down to, see, coaching shows its head in football out of any sport because football is so complicated. I mean, it has to be, you have to have the right coaches. That's why I tell people all the time, Dallas was playing with smoke and mirrors. Those guys cannot really adjust, and they're not really good coaches. So you don't see it in the regular season because in the regular season, they don't prepare 100% for you. You get prepared 85%, and then 15% is for the next team of the next week. But in the playoffs, you get 100% so they can go back and pull up every tape of every scenario, of every play, and then they can isolate every single thing based off of every cut up. They don't do that in the regular season. So
well, Tony,
you basically read the cliff notes in the regular season.
Well, Tony,
you read the entire book in the playoffs.
I watched the all 22s just like you did. Honestly, I don't know what game they were. I don't know what tape Dallas was watching because all I saw yesterday was a lot of plays where Dallas was not in the right spot, not in the right gaps. It was almost like they didn't look at any tape. Okay. Green Bay came at Dallas and literally just ran the ball virtually at will. But when you go 21 for 118 in a game, they didn't even have to run the ball with Aaron Jones 30 times to get their 100. They only had to run him 20 times. That speaks to me of not just a structural problem, okay? There's a physical problem up front. They're not getting contact on those running backs. They're giving them running backs too much room. Too many gaps are wide open. So I would have to say there was a breakdown from the coaching, from the head coach to the coordinators. And listen, I think Dan Quinn is an excellent defensive coordinator. He just doesn't have a curveball.
Yes.
He just has a fastball. That's all he has. And Green Bay was watching. They were ready. They were sitting on the fastball.
Hey, Dave, let's feed into this. So the reason why I said earlier that Bill Belichick is best for Dallas. Bill Belichick has won 3 Super Bowls with less talent than what Dallas has now. When he beat Seattle, when he beat Atlanta, and he beat the Rams. He had less talent than what Dallas team has right now. Dallas team is stacked. But here's the problem.
Oh, wait a minute. 4 teams. Because didn't he beat the didn't he beat the greatest team on turf?
Yeah, but that team, that greatest team on turf,
they were better. They were better.
Ty Law, they had some big dudes inside that were that were pretty damn good. What I mean is that everybody says, here's the 2 things that you're going to hear. Everybody says Bill Belichick is done. He's old. He can't coach. Everybody said Dallas choked. They got all this talent and they don't do anything. Now, part of what you're saying is true, half true on each one. I think that Bill Belichick is going to come to a team that already has this established quarterback, a team that already have the pieces, and he just need to be able to flow the pieces. Because like McCourty said last night, if Bill Belichick go to Dallas, you will not see 3 busted plays where the guy was so wide open it looked like a punt.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Coaching, folks.
That's coaching. But that's not just coaching, Tony. That's scheme. I think they scheme those guys open as far as flooding a zone or forcing a guy to make a decision when someone runs across his face. And you saw on the long touchdown where the dude followed the guy that was crossing and then the receiver ran right off his butt. Al says that Dan Quinn's overrated. No, he's not overrated. What I will say is this. He ran into an offensive coordinator and a coach that had his number. He's not overrated. He's a good coordinator. He's just not a great coordinator. There's a big difference.
Yeah. Hey, Cody, can you get your boy on here?
I'm trying to. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Cody has
hey,
to add you.
Al, we put the stream on there for you. Go ahead and hit that.
Did you hit Al inbox him the
No, Al saw it. It's on the chat. He saw it.
Oh, okay. You did tag him to the stream.
Yeah, he's on there. Okay, question from Brian Ferranti. TK, are you concerned if Dallas gets Belichick and Jerry's strong personality, will it be Jimmy Johnson all over again?
Here's the answer to that. Not concerned. Jerry has just lost all leverage. He tried to do it his way. And if Jerry is this dumb and this stupid to not let football people handle what they need to handle after you done tried to hold for 28 years, you've tried it your way.
Years.
You've tried it your way. You have tried it your way. Your way does not work. Okay? So you need to let competent football people get in. Now, I will say, Jerry and them have done a good job with their draft picks. They haven't really missed in the last 7 years.
Well, they missed on this one. This draft class was pretty bad.
Which one? Who was on this draft class?
This rookie. You can't name anybody. That's the problem. The kid that they got in from Michigan, the guy that they brought in from Michigan, the rookie that was supposed to play defensive tackle, he only had 4 snaps.
He was pretty bad. But he wasn't first round. Our lineman was the first line. Who was Dallas' first pick last year? I see, man, I'm losing it, dude. Hey, somebody hit us. Who was Dallas' first pick last year?
Thanks, Hector. Yeah, Hector says it was the motion from Green Bay that threw them off. Key to beat Dallas is to run right at them. Yeah, we know that. We saw that in the Buffalo game, Hector. As great as Micah is, he cannot run stop at a high level. I would say this. I think Micah Parsons could stop run at a high level, but he's got to have those big uglies in front of him. If he's going to play.
He plays the edge, guys. See, that narrative right there tells me y'all know you really don't understand the game. Michael Parsons plays the edge, even though they got him as linebacker. What they need to do with Micah is put him at the Mike backer. What happens when you put a guy at the Mike backer, everything is designed for that guy to make tackles or that guy to be the guy. And he is the most athletic. So don't put him on the edge where you're deficient. Go out and sign a Chase Young. So you can now have opposite edges. So you don't have to put an undersized Micah going against 300-pound linemen, 2 of them.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Tony?
What's up,
buddy?
buddy?
What's going on, Ali? Hey, listen, let me get one more point in before we go on to Ali. Thanks for joining the show, by the way. If Dallas does this structurally and they want to play Micah Parsons at the Mike linebacker, they're going to have to get better defensive tackles. You can't, if you don't have great defensive tackles in front of your linebackers, they're going to be fighting off blocks. They're not going to get to run to the football. I'll just say that. Welcome to the show, Al Kaile. Hey, what's going on, buddy? What do you got to say to us today, man?
Man, let's be honest. That whole team, Dallas Cowboys team, is all Jerry Jones' fault, man. It has nothing to do with those coaches. Every single year, just look at the common denominator. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's always new coaches. This is why I said that Bill Belichick will not go to Dallas, because Jerry Jones is not going to be willing to give up that Bill Belichick deciding who's coming in, who's not coming in there, deciding if he wants to trade back and get extra picks or not. That's going to come. That's why I said Bill Belichick won't work with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones sit there and decide who's coming in, who's not coming out. Dallas' first problem with offense, they knew that if you was getting rid of Ezekiel Elliott, you needed another running back like that. I love Tony Pollard, but Tony Pollard's a third down back. Everybody got to understand, football comes down to physicality, offense and defense. Simple. If you don't have that running back that can bruise and come down in there, Tony Pollard is not that running back. You
Oh, that's
need
what
that.
Tony was saying. That's what Tony was saying earlier.
Yeah,
He was saying that Dallas's best teams tend to have a dynamic running back, and he's
you have
correct.
to. You have
And
to look at it, because when
Pollard
you
is
look
not
at it,
physically,
you look at it,
Pollard
they
is
went.
physically not that guy. I get it.
You look at it, then they went and drafted a smaller running back to come in there, which was like, okay, it looks good on on TV. Yeah, we drafted this coach's son and whatever. But you're trying to win games. There's guys that's giving up their career, their lives to win football games. Second of all, I think Dan Quinn is overrated. Reason why, you cannot play football without real linebackers. You cannot want to blitz and cause pressure every single time. And then if you look at those guys that was playing linebackers, those were safety. Their run fits was terrible. They were just sitting there waiting, not coming down the hill. They don't have an inside linebacker. Michael Parsons is fine at defense end because he creates pressure, which gives you a chance to win. But if you line up and you go downhill against the Cowboys, it puts them in the bind. Now, you as a defensive coordinator has to think, what am I going to call as a defensive coach? Because you don't have that aggression at the linebacker. So now you thinking, how do I stop this offense? And now this offense is like, you know what? Once we start running downhill on you guys, now we can run whatever play we want to run. Because now these guys become overly aggressive. These guys are not following their keys. And then linebackers, the real linebackers know what to drop in their zone. These guys are secondary guys. They decide whether or not, do I need to step up forward or do I need to drop back in the zone? Any hesitation at that linebacker spot, you're done. So my thing is, it starts with the guy at the top. When that guy at the top decides that, you know what, let the guys that know it. If Belichick is a hell of a coach, but he's a hell of a coach because why? He runs this team the way he runs it, with discipline. He controls the media. He controls everything. Jerry Jones wants to be in the media. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to work with Bill Belichick unless Jerry Jones sit there and say, you know what? I've did this for years. I've been the GM. Let me take a step back. It's time for my program to get to the next level, because they have been getting by on talent. But at some point in time, talent is not going to outwork hard work and dedication and people who are really tied in to win. That game was simple. Dallas by far have the talent on the roster, but at the end of the day, it's like you're not helping Dak, because you're trying to rely on Dak. When it comes to this playoff, you better have a running game. You better have a physicality, and then now when that physical starts to wear on teams, you can throw whatever plays you want. But if you're just sitting there with a third down running back and you're trying to get him and he's looking to get outside, and then first of all, like I said, when you're a physical running team, it beats the hell out of the defense. It changes everything. But Dallas has got to the point where they're more of a gimmick team. They rely on we're gonna get a big play with CD Lamb and all this. But at some point in time, like Tony said, but they're gonna watch every film. There's gonna be staff that's gonna break down from the first downs, second downs, third downs, what they like to do on this play, what they like to do on that play, and they get to read the whole thing. So now they're prepared for it. So now when you as an offense, you over there and you're trying to go to your favorite play, everybody done seen it.
Mm-hmm.
They done seen it. You're not physically dominant. When you become physically dominant, then team become hesitant.
But that's the thing. What we're seeing in the NFL now is the de-emphasis on large running backs. What we're looking at with a Derrick Henry, he's literally the last of a dying breed. You are not going to see that type of running back anymore. Yeah, we're also seeing the de-emphasis. We're also seeing the de-emphasis on linebackers in the NFL as well. So you see a lot of teams where they have a shortage at linebacker, and that's not just a shortage because guys are hurt or there aren't good linebackers. They are literally not putting them on rosters. That's the difference. If you're Dallas and you wanted to go with heavier linebackers, with bigger linebackers, you would think that you would be drafting those guys because you're dealing with a lot of teams that are running at you. What Dallas did do was go after larger cornerbacks, guys that are a little taller, a little bigger, maybe not as fast, but just bigger to make those throws into those tight windows a little harder because it's a passing league. Now,
it's a passing league and it's forever going to be a passing league, but when it comes down to it, then you playing against another good team is the team that's most physical that's going to win.
Well, that's a good point. Detroit is an extremely physical team on
they're
defense.
physical. And you
San
look at Detroit,
Francisco, very
you look at
physical.
Detroit, you look at Detroit, look at Detroit, look at San Francisco. They have two different types of running backs. They have guys that go downhill, and they get the guys the speed guys that they can hit them outside. Like, say, for instance, the kid at Detroit, they got Montgomery that comes downhill on you. Then they have other kids. They hit him on the side. He gets his things, and But Dallas knew that getting rid of Ezekiel Samuel, okay, that's cool. But who did you bring in to replace him?
Ezekiel Elliott? Nah, I don't know what they were doing at running back there. I think they just quote unquote went with the hot hand, which was Tony Pollard, which was the change of pace back. But I don't want the show to turn into completely, deconstruct Dallas. I want to talk also about the game we have coming up right now. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles real quick. As I alluded to before Al came on the show here on the TD Report, the Eagles are 11-6. They're going to go into Tampa. Tampa's in the playoffs by winning the awful NFC South, but it doesn't matter. They're one game away from the division. Hey, look, they're one game away from the divisional, right? So if you're Tampa Bay, you're happy to be here. Baker Mayfield, what is this, his fourth team? Yeah, fourth team. He's trying to resurrect his career. Do we give Tampa any chance of winning this game against Philadelphia tonight?
You have to. You have to, man. It's the playoff. It's 0-0. It's the playoff, man. It's who can make adjustments, who can be physical. Who's going to have a physical running game? Who's going to have a physical defense? Who's going to tackle? Who's not going to tackle? Who's going to make the right corrections? It's 0-0, man. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a team that's that much better, it's 0-0, man. Like, you couldn't tell me that Dallas was not a far better team than the team they played. But it's just that who prepared the most. You know what I'm saying? Who paid attention to meetings? Who knew the check calls? Who knew what to make the right call, the right throws? Man, it's the playoff, man. It's different. Everybody's motivated. Everybody.
Tony, what do you think?
Styles make fights. These teams played each other already, so go look at the film. What did you do? What did you do well? Both teams were different teams when they played each other. Philly was that team, and Tampa Bay really wasn't who they are now. So I think that's the difference of the game. Philly's probably the better team, but does the better team always win? Hell no. Styles make fights, and then when you play the team, remember Tampa Bay was in the same game last year against Dallas on the same night on Martin Luther King holiday, 4 versus 5, and sitting in the same position. Did they learn anything? We're about to find out in another 30 minutes if they learned anything. I think Tampa Bay probably pulls it out just because Philly's not playing well. If Philly plays well, then with that talent, they are hard to beat, man. But they're not playing well.
Well, we want to give a shout out to the NFC North Division. 2 teams advancing in the playoffs. Okay, Green Bay advances and Detroit advances. Very interesting division and pretty young teams. For the most part, got a lot of young talent. You'd like to see these teams be back in the playoffs again, hopefully next year. So if you're looking at a Chicago, you're looking at a Vikings type of team, especially Chicago, how do you get yourself better to where you can get into the position that the Green Bays of the world and the Detroit Lions are in? Okay. Now, as we move on here on the TD Report, let's talk about this Miami situation, what we've got going on in Miami. Miami's got an interesting situation here at quarterback. They're at a crossroads, similar to where the Bears are. Do you go back with Tua? Do you stick with Tua, or do you make a move?
Go ahead, Al.
Man, you have to stick with him, man. You got to stick with him. That's what I think. You know what I'm saying? It's a hit or miss that you're gonna find a good quarterback like that.
Yeah.
You gotta continue to get better, surround him with better pieces, man. Build up the defense and build up the offense, because at the end of the day, man, it's a hit or miss, man. And it's different. That's why home field advantage works. With all those teams, playing out in a different weather, a different, it's a whole different game mentality and preparing for the game. So, I don't think you just can jump and say, man, I'm going to go get this quarterback. And, we see what he can do with that system. Now,
Well,
now
we've
you got to
seen a couple of teams move on from quarterbacks. So we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo get moved on from. We've
Not even
seen
close.
Jared.
And
We saw Jared Goff get moved on.
But how long did it take? But are you gonna find that caliber quarterback that can play at that level? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. If you can't find if you can trade for an upgrade, then you trade for the upgrade. But at this point in time, is it a guaranteed? You know what I mean?
Hey,
if you
Al,
see what you have.
Al, to tag on, he's 32-18 or something like that as a starter. So let's look at how much his record. He's 14 games over 500. What were they before he got there?
Yeah.
Remember that? Remember the word tanking for Tua? And now we're gonna ask because Dave asked the question because it's been out there. So this is not the record of Dave. This is a narrative that they put out there, folks. Hell no. If Tua, put it like this, Miami stays healthy and they don't lose all these damn pieces, Miami would be a problem right now. We'd be talking about them in the divisional. They lost everybody. They were decimated with injuries. And so was Cleveland. I'm telling you, Miami and Cleveland next year are going to be a problem because those teams, to me, overachieved. Because they shouldn't even be in the playoffs with all the people they lost. Dallas lost 0. Oh, well, they lost Diggs at the beginning of the year. And what they showed, everybody should be fired in Frisco. Everybody. I'm surprised people are still in there walking out and walking to the little joint next door to eat. Because if I were there, everybody would be fired. They wouldn't be, I would clean that damn thing. I would even fire the custodian. Because
Tony, you can't fire everybody like that. You come on, man.
Man, you lost your damn mind.
You sound like Michael Irvin. You can't fire everybody.
Everybody can get fired, dog.
Well, you can fire a couple of people, but you can't fire everybody.
The point is, the point about Dallas is not far away. It's just that guys, you need to get a real GM in there to help make better decisions. You know what I'm saying? The owner needs to step back and say, look, I'm the owner. Let these guys run. Because he's been the common denominator. He's been the common denominator on that team. He doesn't need to be over there telling who to draft and who not to draft it. You know what I mean? At some point in time, man, he needs to step back. He needs to step back and realize Dallas is not that far off. To me, like I said, Dan Quinn is overrated because you're not going to play a whole season without having true inside linebackers. Where in a game where you see they gas you right in the middle, you already got a dominant defensive end guy. Michael Parsons is a special player.
That's not Al. That's not Dan Quinn's fault. He's not the one that drafts the linebackers or doesn't draft the linebackers. But that's a problem.
But that's his scheme.
This is hold on, Al. This is the Bill Parcells. If I'm the chef, do I get to get the groceries too? You see what I'm saying? All Dan Quinn is, he's just the chef. He's not the one that he's not the one that makes the draft decisions.
Dave, we can go back to our draft. When Dan Quinn had that first draft in 21, that whole draft was defense, and they said these were the players that Dan Quinn wanted. They drafted a whole bunch. Remember, they drafted like 7 players on the defense. That was 21 when we went from Ocean City to. So Dan Quinn did have a little say for those couple of years now. So this is his baby. So
it's his baby.
He never addressed it to inside.
It's his baby, but he's got somebody over top of him, guys. He has a GM over him. Even though you've got someone that says, okay, assistant head coach, defense coordinator, you can have some say in who you bring in. If we have the guy here in the draft, we're going to get him.
David,
but what we're not going to do is not do this to the detriment of the team as a whole.
David, to me, it's more of his scheme. His scheme is just a pass rush, and then we're gonna over dominate you. It's not where it's saying we got to get linebackers that can come in and be aggressive and be a run stopping team. He's more of a pass stopping first.
It's smoke and mirrors.
like you said, it's smoke and mirrors. Where it works in the season, but come postseason, man, you got to be physical. Man. You got to be able to stop
because
the run.
they're gonna. You know what I was saying, Dave. It will work during the season because in the season they don't isolate everything. In the postseason, everything gets isolated, and they realize that interior box, keep it out, and just go straight in. They can work that all day, and that's all they. Hell, I could have had 100 yards yesterday.
We said for years that Dallas is not strong through the A gap. We said it now for
because they don't have a linebacker.
No, defensive line first.
They need defensive line first, Al.
They need defensive line first, and I've said that for 5 years.
Regardless, listen, look, who's the starting linebackers? Inside linebacker.
It's that number 33 dude. Oh, that
he's probably like 210 pounds the most.
No, that's Bell. Bell should never even be there.
Look, no, Tony.
Bell is out of position.
Go ahead and look at those running plays. These guys are not coming down here. These guys are waiting. They're waiting, and the offensive linemen are coming off of them.
Yeah,
they're waiting. So me as a defensive coordinator, once you start gashing me on a run game, now I'm in a bind. Now my play calling is like, okay, should I be aggressive? And once you start being overly aggressive, your secondary suffers.
Yeah. Well, sure. Your secondary is going to have to make a lot of tackles.
Now, guess what? They coming in down instead of playing back first. Guys are being left over wide open by themselves because now they're like, all right, we got to come and stop this run.
Well, who we got tonight, man? Who you picking, Al?
Man, I think Philly gonna pull it off. I think Philly will pull it off tonight.
All right, I got Tampa. Who you got, Dave?
I hate going against Jalen Hurts, but I'm going to have to go against him tonight. Give me Tampa Bay. Give me Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So let me run something from you guys real quick, and I'll run this to you, and I got to bounce. So 2023 draft picks for Dallas, okay? First round, Maisie Smith, defensive tackle, Michigan.
But
second round, pick 27. Luke Schoonmaker, tight end at Michigan.
Really good. He did all right this year.
He did all right.
Yeah.
Third round, Demavion Overshawn, inside linebacker from Texas. So defensive end, Vilamio Fehoko from San Jose State. So that's basically what they did in their first 4 picks. So as you can see, that was 3 defensive guys and 1 tight end. Okay, so bottom line is this.
They needed a running back, a solid running back in the 3rd or 4th round. A solid running back that were going to help them. Because you just lost your guy that was, that was your engine. The guy that would pick up the 3-4 yards of hard rushing. The guy that would get the offensive line going. I'm okay with Tony Pollard. He's a good 3rd down back. He's a good, but you need those hard yardage. Offensive linemen feed off of that.
Mm-hmm.
They feed off of that run game coming at you. Look at 49ers. They feed off of that. Now in the passing game, everything opens. Because why? The defense got to get more aggressive. When you get more aggressive, what happens?
We got to see what Dallas does in the front office as far as what they're going to decide to do. If they decide, hey, we need to get a lot more physical, we need to get a lot bigger. If they do that, we'll see that.
You remember that? Remember the show we had earlier when I told David that the Washington Commanders weren't going to win more than 6 games?
Mm-hmm. And that was when they was rolling.
They're pretty bad this year. That was bad.
I told you.
Hey, Tony, I got to jump off real quick.
All right, man.
I got to jump off. Hey, Al, thanks for helping us with the show tonight, man.
No problem.
Hey, Tony, let's talk on Thursday. Let's get together on Thursday.
We're going to, hey, Al, what we're going to do is we're going to tell everybody we're going to be here Thursday. Make sure that we come back Thursday, kind of set everybody up for what the game is. We're down to 1 game left. Pittsburgh just lost to Buffalo 31-17.
And Pittsburgh did that. But, man, that dude's got to be one of the best coaches, man, because he literally got into the playoffs without nothing on that team.
Yeah, but, in Pittsburgh, they always, we don't like Tom, and we don't. He's mediocre, Mike, and he's never had a losing season in 17 years. So if that's mediocre, I don't know, man.
All right, Tom. We're
I can't call it, man. I can't call it. But Al, thank you for coming on, my man. We'll talk. Hey, we'll see you guys Thursday night back on the TD Report. You guys be safe out there on these roads. Be safe. All right, later.